Next.js version 13 has been released, and indeed, it is a major new version of Next.js, opening the door towards an exciting Next.js future. But at the same time, it's really just doing that, opening that door, not really yet going through that door. When you update your current Next.js 12 project to Next.js 13, you thankfully won't have to change a lot. Indeed, there's just one important change that's likely to affect almost all Next.js projects, and that's a change to the link component provided by Next.js, which up to this new version 13 had to be wrapped around a separate anchor element whenever you wanted to have nested elements inside your link or whenever you wanted to add extra attributes to a link, like for example a class name. With Next.js 13, this thankfully changes, and now if you want to have a link with a class name or any other link attribute, you just put that attribute onto the link element itself. And if you want to have any nested elements in there, you put them directly into the link without that extra anchor element as a wrapper. So that's the main thing that changes for your existing Next.js projects. But what about that exciting door to Next.js future, which I mentioned? Well, Next.js 13 introduces two new, not yet stable features, which have the potential of vastly improving Next.js and Next.js projects in the future once they are stable and finished. Now, the first exciting feature that's released as part of Next.js is TurboPack, which in the end is a build tool used under the hood of Next.js in the future, which promises to be way faster than existing build tools. Now, that's a under the hood change which won't impact the code you write, but of course it will impact your developer experience, so that will be a good thing to have. The bigger change that will impact the code you write is the change to how you structure your Next.js application. It's the introduction of a new app directory and a totally different way of building pages and layouts and fetching data. Now, I will of course create a separate tutorial and update my existing Next.js course once this feature is stable. At the moment, I'm still teaching the latest stable version of Next.js in that course. But what this new app directory and this new approach of building and writing Next.js apps is all about is in the end that you will have a separate directory instead of the pages directory, that app directory, which supports deeply nested routes and layouts. So that having shared layouts, which are shared between different pages, will be way easier than it is with Next.js 12 or older, where you essentially have this special app component that can act as a layout, but where it is rather cumbersome to have shared layouts. It will be easier with future versions of Next.js, so once this new feature here is fully integrated. And in addition, it will also improve data fetching and page rendering. By default, all components will be so-called server components that are pre-rendered on the server or at build time. And by default, all your data fetching can happen there as well, but if you have deeply nested websites with deeply nested routes and pages, then Next.js will help you fetch that data in parallel and efficiently refetch data as you navigate between pages. So that, for example, if you have a layout that needs some data to be fetched and a nested page that also fetches some other data, and you then navigate away but you're still using the same layout, that layout data does not have to be refetched, and only that nested data, the data for the nested page, will be refetched. At the moment with Next.js 12, this is not really supported, and there you would end up refetching all the data again and again, which of course is not ideal. Now, to offer all these exciting new features, Next.js embraces some experimental, not yet stable React features, which the React team is researching, like server-side components, or async await support in those server-side components. And therefore Next.js also embraces potential future React concepts. But what's really important to understand, and what can't be stressed enough, is that we're talking about unstable, not yet finished APIs, which are still being researched and fleshed out. For that reason, if you explore the beta docs for this new app folder and this new way of building Next.js applications, you will find a lot of warnings and notes about features still missing, not being finished, likely to change, and so on. And that's why I said that Next.js 13 opens the door to that future, but doesn't yet walk through that door. With Next.js 13, you can play around with some of these exciting new features, but they're not finished yet, they're not stable, features are missing, features are likely to have bugs, and features are likely to change. But in future Next.js versions, we'll be able to use the finished, stable APIs, and then what I've seen thus far looks very promising and looks like we'll have a nice way of building even more powerful Next.js applications. Until then though, it's Next.js as you know it, despite this new version name.